When I discovered my own mother had been helping my husband conceal his affair for months, I thought my world had completely shattered. But when I played the recording of their conversations to his commanding general, I realized that sometimes the most devastating betrayals become the catalyst for the most empowering victories. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Rachel Morrison, and until 18 months ago, I believed I had built my life on an unshakable foundation of loyalty, honor, and family bonds that would withstand any challenge. At 34, I commanded respect as one of the youngest female officers to achieve my rank in the Army Corps of Engineers, managed a household that ran with military precision, and maintained relationships that I considered beyond reproach. The foundation of my world rested on three pillars that I had never questioned: my marriage to Major David Morrison, my career in the United States Army, and my relationship with my mother, Patricia Kendall. Each of these pillars represented years of careful cultivation, unwavering commitment, and the kind of trust that I believed could only be earned through consistent demonstration of character and integrity. David and I had met during our junior year at West Point, where we were both pursuing degrees in engineering with the intention of serving our country through military careers. Our relationship developed slowly and deliberately, built on shared values, mutual respect, and a common vision for our future together. We understood the unique challenges of military life, the demands of service, and the importance of maintaining strong partnerships that could withstand the pressures of deployment, relocation, and the constant demands of military duty. Our courtship followed the disciplined approach that characterized our professional lives. We studied together, participated in the same extracurricular activities, and spent countless hours discussing our aspirations for military service and family life. David possessed the qualities I most admired: unwavering integrity, exceptional competence, and the kind of quiet confidence that inspired trust and respect from subordinates and superiors alike. The marriage ceremony took place 6 months after our graduation from West Point, held in the Academy's beautiful cadet chapel with both our families in attendance. The ceremony represented more than a personal commitment. It symbolized the joining of two military careers and the creation of a partnership that would serve as the foundation for our continued service to our country. During the early years of our marriage, David and I navigated the challenges of dual military careers with remarkable success. We managed to secure assignments that allowed us to serve together or in close proximity, coordinating our career development to ensure that both of us could pursue advancement while maintaining our partnership. Our colleagues often remarked on our ability to balance professional obligations with personal commitments, viewing us as a model military couple. The birth of our daughter Emma when I was 28 marked a significant transition in our family dynamic. We approached parenthood with the same strategic planning that we applied to our military careers, establishing routines and support systems that would enable us to fulfill our parental responsibilities while continuing to excel in our professional roles. David proved to be an exceptional father, demonstrating the same dedication and attention to detail with Emma that he brought to his military duty. My mother Patricia had been a constant source of support throughout my life, from my childhood in suburban Virginia, through my years at West Point, and into my military career. She had raised me as a single parent after my father's death when I was 12, demonstrating remarkable strength and resilience that shaped my own character and values. Her unwavering support during my most challenging moments had created a bond that I considered unbreakable. Patricia had welcomed David into our family with genuine warmth and affection, often remarking that she considered him the son she had never had. Their relationship developed into a close friendship that extended beyond the typical mother-in-law and son-in-law dynamic, with David frequently seeking her advice on everything from career decisions to household management. I viewed their close relationship as a blessing that strengthened our family unit and provided additional support for our marriage. My military career had progressed steadily through the ranks, with each promotion representing recognition of my competence, leadership abilities, and commitment to excellence. The Corps of Engineers had provided opportunities for meaningful service, including deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq, where I had led construction projects that directly supported combat operations and humanitarian missions. These experiences had deepened my commitment to military service, while developing skills and perspectives that enhanced my effectiveness as a leader. The achievement of lieutenant colonel rank at 33 had been a significant milestone that reflected years of dedicated service and exceptional performance. The promotion ceremony had been attended by David, Emma, and my mother, creating a moment of shared pride and celebration that reinforced my belief in the strength of our family bonds and professional partnership. Our current assignment at Fort Belvoir provided an ideal environment for our family life and professional development. David served as a logistics officer in the base's supply chain management division, while I commanded an engineering battalion responsible for infrastructure projects throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. The assignment allowed us to maintain a stable home environment for Emma, while pursuing challenging and meaningful work that utilized our skills and experience. The foundation of trust that I had built with my family and colleagues was reflected in the responsibilities and opportunities that I had been given. My subordinates respected my leadership style, which emphasized clear communication, fair treatment, and genuine concern for their professional development and personal welfare. My superiors valued my ability to deliver results while maintaining the highest standards of integrity and professionalism. The relationship with my mother had evolved into an adult partnership based on mutual respect and shared value. Patricia had become not only a source of emotional support but also a practical partner in managing the complexities of military family life. She frequently provided childcare for Emma during my travel assignments, participated in family decisions, and offered guidance based on her own experiences as a military spouse and single parent. David's relationship with his own family had been more complicated, as his parents had divorced during his teenage years and maintained distant relationships with their children. This dynamic had drawn him closer to my mother, who had embraced him as a surrogate son and provided the kind of family stability that he had missed during his formative years. Their relationship had become a cornerstone of our family structure, creating what I believed was a mutually beneficial and supportive dynamic. The military community at Fort Belvoir had welcomed our family with the characteristic warmth and inclusiveness that defined the best aspects of military culture. We had developed friendships with other military families, participated in base activities and social events, and contributed to the community spirit that made military life rewarding despite its challenge. These relationships provided both personal enjoyment and professional networking opportunities that enhanced our careers and family life. My leadership philosophy had been shaped by the principle that trust must be earned through consistent demonstration of competence and care. I expected the same level of integrity from my subordinates, colleagues, and family members that I demanded from myself. This expectation had created an environment of mutual respect and accountability that I believed strengthened all of my relationships. The financial foundation of our family had been built through careful planning and disciplined savings that reflected our shared commitment to long-term security and stability. We had purchased a home in a desirable neighborhood near the base, established college savings accounts for Emma, and maintained emergency funds that provided security against unexpected challenges. This financial stability enabled us to focus on our careers and family life without the stress of economic uncertainty. The integration of our professional and personal lives had been achieved through careful coordination and mutual support that allowed both David and me to pursue our career objectives while maintaining our family commitment. We had developed systems for managing household responsibilities, childcare arrangements, and social obligations that distributed burdens fairly and ensured that neither of us was overwhelmed by competing demands. The community respect that we had earned through our service and character had created opportunities for leadership roles and influence that extended beyond our immediate professional responsibility. I had been invited to speak at professional conferences, serve on military boards and committees, and mentor junior officers who sought guidance on career development and military life. These opportunities provided platforms for contributing to the broader military community while enhancing my own professional development. The foundation of trust that I had built over 15 years of marriage and military service represented more than personal security. It embodied the values and principles that defined my identity and guided my decisions. This foundation had enabled me to take calculated risks, pursue ambitious objectives, and maintain confidence in my ability to navigate the complexities of military life while preserving the relationships that mattered most. The strength of these foundations had been tested through various challenges, including deployments, career transitions, and the normal stresses of military family life. Each challenge had been met with open communication, mutual support, and the kind of collaborative problem-solving that strengthened rather than weakened our bonds. These experiences had reinforced my belief in the durability of relationships built on trust, respect, and shared value. The reputation that I had established within the military community reflected my commitment to excellence, integrity, and service that extended beyond personal advancement to encompass genuine concern for the welfare of others. This reputation had created opportunities for increased responsibility and influence, while establishing expectations for continued performance that motivated me to maintain the highest standards in all aspects of my life. The foundation of trust that had sustained me through 15 years of marriage and military service would soon be tested in ways that I could never have imagined. The pillars that I had believed were unshakable would prove to be built on assumptions that had never been properly examined, creating vulnerabilities that I had never recognized or addressed. The discovery of these vulnerabilities would transform my understanding of trust, loyalty, and the true nature of the relationships that had defined my life. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The comfortable certainty that had characterized my worldview was about to be shattered by revelations that would force me to question everything I had believed about the people closest to me. The foundation of trust that I had spent years building would prove to be more fragile than I had ever imagined, but its destruction would ultimately become the catalyst for a transformation that would reveal strengths and capabilities that I had never known I possessed. The journey from trusted foundations to devastating betrayal would test every aspect of my character, training, and value. The military principles that had guided my professional life would become essential tools for navigating personal challenges that threatened to destroy everything I had worked to build. The leadership skills that I had developed through years of service would prove crucial for managing the crisis that was about to unfold. The foundation of trust that I had built would soon be replaced by a different kind of strength, one based not on the reliability of others, but on the recognition of my own capabilities and the determination to create a life built on authentic relationships and genuine integrity. The transformation would be painful, but it would ultimately lead to a more authentic and empowered version of myself that would be capable of achievements that I had never previously imagined possible. The first crack in my carefully constructed world appeared on a Tuesday morning in March when I discovered a phone in David's uniform pocket that I had never seen before. The device was sleek, expensive, and completely different from the standard-issue military phone that he carried for official communications, or the personal phone that I had helped him select 2 years earlier. I had been preparing his dress uniform for a promotion ceremony later that week, a routine task that I had performed countless times throughout our marriage. The meticulous attention to detail required for military uniforms had become second nature to me, ensuring that every ribbon, insignia, and accessory was positioned perfectly according to regulation standards. As I checked the pockets for any items that might have been forgotten, my fingers encountered the unfamiliar device. The phone was password protected, but the brief glimpse of the lock screen revealed multiple missed calls and text messages from a contact listed simply as. The volume of communications was unusual for a device that appeared to be used exclusively for personal purposes, particularly since David had never mentioned needing a second phone for any legitimate reason. My initial reaction was confusion rather than suspicion. Military personnel often carried multiple communication devices for different purposes, and it was possible that David had acquired the phone for some official function that he had simply forgotten to mention. However, the secrecy surrounding the device created a nagging sense of unease that contradicted my usual trust in his transparency about all aspects of his professional and personal life. I returned the phone to his pocket without examining it further, but the discovery had planted a seed of doubt that would grow over the following week. The military training that had taught me to pay attention to details and anomalies began to focus on subtle changes in David's behavior that I had previously overlooked or dismissed as routine stress from his demanding responsibility. The changes were initially minor and easily explained by the normal pressures of military life. David had been working longer hours, taking more phone calls outside my presence, and showing increased concern about his appearance and personal grooming. These behaviors could have been attributed to the additional responsibilities that came with his recent promotion, and the increased scrutiny that accompanied higher rank. However, as the weeks progressed, the pattern of changes became more pronounced and harder to explain through normal circumstances. David began receiving calls at unusual hours that required him to leave the room for privacy. He started volunteering for additional duties that kept him away from home for extended periods. His explanations for these commitments became vague and inconsistent, lacking the specific details that usually characterized his descriptions of military activity. The most significant change occurred in our personal relationship, as David became increasingly distant and distracted during our time together. Conversations that had once been engaging and intimate became superficial and routine. Physical affection diminished noticeably, and David seemed to be mentally absent even when he was physically present with Emma and me. My attempts to address these changes through direct communication were met with defensive responses and reassurances that everything was normal. David attributed his behavior to the stress of increased responsibilities and the demands of his new position, explanations that seemed reasonable but failed to account for the comprehensive nature of the changes I was observing. The situation escalated when I began noticing similar patterns in my mother's behavior. Patricia had always been completely transparent with me about her activities and relationships, sharing details about her social life, volunteer work, and daily routines with the openness that characterized our close relationship. However, she had recently become evasive about her schedule and reluctant to discuss her activities in detail. My mother had also begun making unexplained trips to the base, claiming to be visiting friends or running errands that required her presence at Fort Belvoir. These trips were unusual because Patricia had always coordinated her base visits with my schedule, using them as opportunities to spend time with Emma and me. The secretive nature of these visits contradicted her usual transparency and created additional concerns about the changes I was observing. The convergence of unusual behavior from both David and my mother created a pattern that my military training had taught me to recognize as potentially significant. The timing of their behavioral changes, the similar nature of their evasiveness, and the coordination of their activities suggested a connection that extended beyond coincidence. My attempts to investigate these suspicions were complicated by my desire to maintain trust in my family relationships and my reluctance to engage in behavior that could be viewed as paranoid or controlling. The military culture that emphasized loyalty and trust among colleagues created internal conflict about pursuing suspicions that might damage relationships that were fundamental to my personal and professional identity. The catalyst moment arrived when I was reviewing our family's cell phone bills and discovered extensive communications between David's official phone and a number that I did not recognize. The frequency and timing of these communications suggested a level of contact that extended far beyond normal professional or casual personal relationships. The phone records revealed patterns of communication that occurred during times when David had told me he was engaged in other activities. Long conversations had taken place during hours when he claimed to be in meetings or completing administrative tasks. Text messages had been exchanged during family time when he had appeared to be focused on household activities or interactions with Emma. The most disturbing discovery was the correlation between David's communications with the unknown number and his behavioral changes at home. The frequency of contact had increased dramatically during the period when he had become more distant and evasive. The timing of communications often coincided with his sudden need to leave the house for supposed military obligations. My investigation of the phone records also revealed communications between David and my mother that were far more extensive than I had realized. The frequency of their contact had increased significantly over the past several months, with conversations occurring at times when neither of them had mentioned speaking to the other. The pattern suggested a level of coordination and communication that extended beyond their normal relationship. The discovery of these communication patterns created a profound shift in my understanding of my family dynamics. The trust that I had considered unshakable was being undermined by evidence of secretive behavior and potential deception from the two people I trusted most completely. The implications of this evidence were too significant to ignore despite my strong desire to find innocent explanations for the patterns I was observing. The decision to pursue a more comprehensive investigation was not made lightly. My military training had taught me the importance of gathering complete information before drawing conclusions, but it had also emphasized the need to act decisively when evidence suggested serious problems that required immediate attention. The evidence I had discovered warranted further investigation despite the potential consequences for my family relationship. The investigation required me to employ skills and techniques that I had learned through military intelligence training, adapting them to the personal context of my family's situation. This adaptation felt uncomfortable and intrusive, as it required me to treat my husband and mother as potential sources of deception rather than trusted partners in my life. The process of systematic investigation revealed additional evidence that supported my growing suspicion. I discovered that David had been accessing our joint financial accounts to make unexplained purchases and cash withdrawals. The amounts were not large enough to significantly impact our financial security, but the secretive nature of these transactions suggested activities that he was deliberately concealing. When I discovered my own mother had been helping my husband conceal his affair for months, I thought my world had completely shattered. But when I played the recording of their conversations to his commanding general, I realized that sometimes the most devastating betrayals become the catalyst for the most empowering victories. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Rachel Morrison, and until 18 months ago, I believed I had built my life on an unshakable foundation of loyalty, honor, and family bonds that would withstand any challenge. At 34, I commanded respect as one of the youngest female officers to achieve my rank in the Army Corps of Engineers, managed a household that ran with military precision, and maintained relationships that I considered beyond reproach. The foundation of my world rested on three pillars that I had never questioned: my marriage to Major David Morrison, my career in the United States Army, and my relationship with my mother, Patricia Kendall. Each of these pillars represented years of careful cultivation, unwavering commitment, and the kind of trust that I believed could only be earned through consistent demonstration of character and integrity. David and I had met during our junior year at West Point, where we were both pursuing degrees in engineering with the intention of serving our country through military careers. Our relationship developed slowly and deliberately, built on shared values, mutual respect, and a common vision for our future together. We understood the unique challenges of military life, the demands of service, and the importance of maintaining strong partnerships that could withstand the pressures of deployment, relocation, and the constant demands of military duty. Our courtship followed the disciplined approach that characterized our professional lives. We studied together, participated in the same extracurricular activities, and spent countless hours discussing our aspirations for military service and family life. David possessed the qualities I most admired: unwavering integrity, exceptional competence, and the kind of quiet confidence that inspired trust and respect from subordinates and superiors alike. The marriage ceremony took place 6 months after our graduation from West Point, held in the Academy's beautiful cadet chapel with both our families in attendance. The ceremony represented more than a personal commitment. It symbolized the joining of two military careers and the creation of a partnership that would serve as the foundation for our continued service to our country. During the early years of our marriage, David and I navigated the challenges of dual military careers with remarkable success. We managed to secure assignments that allowed us to serve together or in close proximity, coordinating our career development to ensure that both of us could pursue advancement while maintaining our partnership. Our colleagues often remarked on our ability to balance professional obligations with personal commitments, viewing us as a model military couple. The birth of our daughter Emma when I was 28 marked a significant transition in our family dynamic. We approached parenthood with the same strategic planning that we applied to our military careers, establishing routines and support systems that would enable us to fulfill our parental responsibilities while continuing to excel in our professional roles. David proved to be an exceptional father, demonstrating the same dedication and attention to detail with Emma that he brought to his military duty. My mother Patricia had been a constant source of support throughout my life, from my childhood in suburban Virginia, through my years at West Point, and into my military career. She had raised me as a single parent after my father's death when I was 12, demonstrating remarkable strength and resilience that shaped my own character and values. Her unwavering support during my most challenging moments had created a bond that I considered unbreakable. Patricia had welcomed David into our family with genuine warmth and affection, often remarking that she considered him the son she had never had. Their relationship developed into a close friendship that extended beyond the typical mother-in-law and son-in-law dynamic, with David frequently seeking her advice on everything from career decisions to household management. I viewed their close relationship as a blessing that strengthened our family unit and provided additional support for our marriage. My military career had progressed steadily through the ranks, with each promotion representing recognition of my competence, leadership abilities, and commitment to excellence. The Corps of Engineers had provided opportunities for meaningful service, including deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq, where I had led construction projects that directly supported combat operations and humanitarian missions. These experiences had deepened my commitment to military service, while developing skills and perspectives that enhanced my effectiveness as a leader. The achievement of lieutenant colonel rank at 33 had been a significant milestone that reflected years of dedicated service and exceptional performance. The promotion ceremony had been attended by David, Emma, and my mother, creating a moment of shared pride and celebration that reinforced my belief in the strength of our family bonds and professional partnership. Our current assignment at Fort Belvoir provided an ideal environment for our family life and professional development. David served as a logistics officer in the base's supply chain management division, while I commanded an engineering battalion responsible for infrastructure projects throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. The assignment allowed us to maintain a stable home environment for Emma, while pursuing challenging and meaningful work that utilized our skills and experience. The foundation of trust that I had built with my family and colleagues was reflected in the responsibilities and opportunities that I had been given. My subordinates respected my leadership style, which emphasized clear communication, fair treatment, and genuine concern for their professional development and personal welfare. My superiors valued my ability to deliver results while maintaining the highest standards of integrity and professionalism. The relationship with my mother had evolved into an adult partnership based on mutual respect and shared value. Patricia had become not only a source of emotional support but also a practical partner in managing the complexities of military family life. She frequently provided childcare for Emma during my travel assignments, participated in family decisions, and offered guidance based on her own experiences as a military spouse and single parent. David's relationship with his own family had been more complicated, as his parents had divorced during his teenage years and maintained distant relationships with their children. This dynamic had drawn him closer to my mother, who had embraced him as a surrogate son and provided the kind of family stability that he had missed during his formative years. Their relationship had become a cornerstone of our family structure, creating what I believed was a mutually beneficial and supportive dynamic. The military community at Fort Belvoir had welcomed our family with the characteristic warmth and inclusiveness that defined the best aspects of military culture. We had developed friendships with other military families, participated in base activities and social events, and contributed to the community spirit that made military life rewarding despite its challenges. These relationships provided both personal enjoyment and professional networking opportunities that enhanced our careers and family life. My leadership philosophy had been shaped by the principle that trust must be earned through consistent demonstration of competence and character. I expected the same level of integrity from my subordinates, colleagues, and family members that I demanded from myself. The involvement with a network focused on marital problems could potentially raise questions about my stability and trustworthiness. However, the evidence I had gathered about David's deception and my mother's involvement had created a situation that warranted professional guidance and support. The complexity of the legal, financial, and career implications required expertise that extended beyond my personal knowledge and experience. The network's focus on protecting professional interests while addressing personal problems aligned with my priorities and concerns. My initial conversation with Colonel Martinez took place during a secure phone call that demonstrated the network's commitment to confidentiality and operational security. Colonel Martinez's approach was professional and systematic, focusing on practical strategies for evidence gathering and situation assessment, rather than emotional support or personal counseling. Her military background was evident in her analytical approach and emphasis on strategic planning. Colonel Martinez's assessment of my situation confirmed that the patterns I had observed were consistent with sophisticated deception schemes that often involved coordination between multiple family members. The involvement of my mother in David's activities suggested a level of planning and coordination that extended beyond typical extramarital relationships and indicated potential long-term deception. The network's investigation techniques included systematic surveillance, financial analysis, communication monitoring, and coordination with legal and financial professionals who specialized in military family law. These techniques were adapted from military intelligence procedures and modified for civilian legal requirements, creating comprehensive approaches to evidence gathering that would be admissible in legal proceedings. Colonel Martinez also provided guidance on operational security measures that would protect my investigation from detection while preserving the integrity of evidence gathering. These measures included secure communication protocols, systematic documentation procedures, and compartmentalization strategies that prevented David and my mother from becoming aware of my activity. The network's most valuable resource was its database of case studies and precedents that provided guidance for different types of deception schemes and resolution strategy. These case studies included detailed analyses of successful investigations, legal proceedings, and career management strategies that had enabled network members to resolve their situations while preserving their professional standing. The emotional support provided by the network was equally important, as it connected me with other military personnel who had faced similar challenges and had successfully navigated the complex process of confronting betrayal while maintaining their careers and personal integrity. These connections provided both practical guidance and emotional validation that helped me maintain focus and determination during the investigation process. The network's legal resources included relationships with attorneys who specialized in military family law and understood the unique challenges faced by military personnel during divorce proceedings. These attorneys provided guidance on evidence gathering, asset protection, and custody arrangements that took into account the special circumstances of military families. The financial planning resources offered by the network addressed the complex issues of military benefits, retirement planning, and asset division that were unique to military families. These resources helped me understand the potential financial implications of various resolution strategies and develop plans that would protect Emma's interests and my long-term financial security. The network's career management guidance was particularly valuable, as it addressed the potential implications of personal problems for security clearances, promotion opportunities, and assignment preferences. This guidance helped me understand how to manage the situation in ways that would minimize negative impacts on my military career, while ensuring that I received appropriate support and protection. The network's systematic approach to evidence gathering enabled me to expand my investigation beyond the initial discoveries about David's secretive behavior and my mother's involvement. The techniques I learned through the network helped me uncover additional evidence of financial deception, coordinated activities, and communication patterns that confirmed the extent of the betrayal. The most significant discovery through the network's investigation techniques was the identification of David's relationship with Monica Stevens, a civilian contractor who worked in the base's logistics department. Monica's position provided her with access to information about military operations and personnel that created potential security implications for David's relationship with her. The investigation revealed that David and Monica had been maintaining their relationship for over 8 months, with coordination and assistance from my mother, who had provided logistical support and cover stories for their activity. The level of planning and coordination involved in concealing the relationship indicated a sophisticated deception scheme that extended far beyond a casual extramarital relationship. The network's resources also revealed that Monica had a history of relationships with married military personnel, suggesting that she might be specifically targeting military families for reasons that extended beyond personal attraction. This pattern raised additional concerns about potential security implications and the possibility that David was being manipulated or exploited, rather than simply engaging in a consensual relation. The discovery of Monica's background and the security implications of David's relationship with her created new dimensions to the situation that required careful consideration and strategic planning. The potential for security violations created opportunities for resolution that extended beyond typical divorce proceedings and could involve military justice procedures and career consequences for David. The network's guidance on managing these complex dimensions helped me develop a comprehensive strategy that addressed both personal and professional implications while protecting my own interests and security clearance. This strategy included systematic documentation of security violations, coordination with appropriate military authorities, and legal preparation for various resolution scenarios. The emotional support provided by the network was crucial during this phase of the investigation, as the scope and complexity of the deception became clear. The realization that my mother had been actively participating in a scheme that potentially compromised military security created profound feelings of betrayal and anger that required professional guidance to manage effectively. The network's emphasis on transforming anger and hurt into strategic action was particularly valuable, as it helped me channel negative emotions into productive investigation and planning activity. This approach enabled me to maintain focus on resolution objectives rather than becoming overwhelmed by the emotional impact of the discoveries. The network's resources also included guidance on timing and coordination for confrontation and resolution activity. This guidance helped me understand the optimal sequencing of evidence gathering, legal consultation, and direct confrontation that would maximize the likelihood of favorable outcomes while minimizing risks to my career and security clearance. The preparation for confrontation included the development of comprehensive documentation packages that would be suitable for presentation to military authorities, legal representatives, and family members. These packages included evidence of deception, security violations, and financial irregularities that would support various resolution strategies depending on how David and my mother responded to confrontation. The network's approach emphasized the importance of maintaining professional composure and strategic thinking throughout the confrontation process, regardless of the emotional provocations that might occur. This guidance helped me prepare mentally and emotionally for the challenging conversations that would be necessary to resolve the situation. The transformation from isolated victim to informed strategist had been facilitated by the network's resources and support, but it had also revealed personal strengths and capabilities that I had not previously recognized. The systematic approach to investigation and strategic planning had demonstrated analytical and operational skills that extended beyond my military training and created new confidence in my ability to handle complex personal challenges. The network had provided the tools and support necessary for uncovering the truth about David's betrayal and my mother's involvement, but the ultimate responsibility for resolution remained with me. The evidence I had gathered, and the strategies I had developed through the network's guidance would soon be put to the test through direct confrontation and the implementation of resolution plans that would determine the future of my family and career. The breakthrough moment arrived on a Thursday evening in late April when I discovered the recording device that my mother had accidentally left activated in her purse during one of her visits to our home. The device had been running for over 3 hours, capturing conversations between my mother and David that would provide irrefutable evidence of their conspiracy and reveal the true extent of their betrayal. The discovery occurred while I was helping my mother locate her car keys, which she claimed to have misplaced during her visit with Emma. As I searched through her purse at her request, I noticed the small digital recorder that she typically used for her volunteer work with the local historical society. The device was still recording, its small red light indicating that it had been capturing audio throughout her visit. My initial assumption was that my mother had simply forgotten to turn off the device after completing some historical society work. However, the extended recording time and the fact that she had not mentioned any historical society activities during her visit created questions about the device's purpose and content. The military training that had taught me to pay attention to anomalies and inconsistencies suggested that this discovery warranted further investigation. The decision to review the recording was complicated by my respect for my mother's privacy and my reluctance to engage in activities that could be viewed as invasive or inappropriate. However, the evidence I had already gathered through the network's investigation techniques had established patterns of deception that justified more comprehensive evidence gathering. The potential significance of the recording outweighed my concerns about privacy violation. The initial review of the recording revealed casual conversation between my mother and Emma about school activities and weekend plans. This normal content reinforced my assumption that the device had been left on accidentally, and I began to fast forward through the recording to determine its full duration and content. The discovery of what the recording actually contained would prove to be the most significant breakthrough in my investigation. The conversation between my mother and David began approximately 90 minutes into the recording, when David arrived home from work and joined my mother in the kitchen while Emma was occupied with homework in her room. The initial discussion focused on routine family matters and David's work schedule, but the tone and content quickly shifted to reveal the true nature of their relationship and their collaborative efforts to deceive me. The recording captured my mother asking David about his relationship with Monica Stevens, using language that indicated detailed knowledge of their activities and emotional involvement. Her questions were specific and informed, revealing that she had been receiving regular updates about the relationship and had been providing advice and support for maintaining the deception. The casual nature of their discussion indicated that this was an ongoing conversation rather than a recent development. David's responses to my mother's questions revealed the depth of his emotional involvement with Monica and his contempt for our marriage. He described his relationship with Monica as more fulfilling and exciting than his marriage to me, expressing frustration with what he characterized as my rigid personality and excessive focus on military career advance. His comments revealed a fundamental lack of respect for our marriage and his commitment to our family. The most shocking revelation came when David thanked my mother for her assistance in facilitating his relationship with Monica. He specifically acknowledged her role in providing alibis for his absences, creating opportunities for him to meet with Monica and helping him manage the logistics of maintaining the deception. The gratitude he expressed indicated that my mother had been an active and willing participant in the conspiracy rather than a reluctant accomplice. My mother's response to David's gratitude revealed her own motivations for participating in the deception. She expressed her belief that I had become too focused on my military career and had neglected my responsibilities as a wife and mother. Her justification for helping David was based on her conviction that Monica was better suited to meet his emotional needs, and that the relationship was ultimately beneficial for everyone involved, including Emma. The recording also captured detailed discussions about their strategies for concealing the relationship from me and other members of the military community. They had developed sophisticated cover stories, coordinated their schedules to create opportunities for David and Monica to meet, and established communication protocols that would prevent me from discovering their activity. The level of planning and coordination revealed in these discussions indicated that the deception had been ongoing for many months. The conversation included specific details about financial arrangements that David had made to support his relationship with Monica. My mother had been aware of his use of our joint accounts for gifts and activities related to the relationship, and she had provided advice on how to conceal these expenditures from me. Her participation in the financial deception represented a violation of trust that extended beyond emotional betrayal to include potential legal and financial implications. The recording revealed that Monica Stevens had been actively cultivating relationships with other military personnel at Fort Belvoir with David's knowledge and apparent approval. Their discussion included names of other officers who had become involved with Monica, suggesting that she was operating as part of a broader pattern of relationships that could have significant security implications for the base and the military community. The most disturbing aspect of the recording was the discussion about their plans for the future, which included David's intention to request a transfer to a different base where he could continue his relationship with Monica without the complications of maintaining his marriage to me. My mother had been providing guidance on timing and strategies for this transition, demonstrating her active participation in planning the destruction of our marriage. The recording also captured their discussion of Emma's future, with both David and my mother expressing the belief that she would be better off living primarily with David and Monica rather than remaining in my custody. Their casual discussion of custody arrangements and Emma's living situation revealed their assumption that they would control the outcome of any divorce proceedings and that my preferences and Emma's best interests were secondary consideration. The evidence captured in the recording was comprehensive and irrefutable, providing documentation of conspiracy, financial deception, and potential security violations that would support various resolution strategies. The casual nature of the conversation and the specific details discussed created a complete picture of the betrayal that exceeded anything I had previously imagined possible. The immediate impact of hearing the recording was overwhelming and emotionally devastating. The realization that my mother had been actively working to destroy my marriage while maintaining the facade of loving support created feelings of betrayal and anger that exceeded the emotional impact of David's infidelity. The discovery that both of them viewed me with contempt and had been planning my future without my knowledge or consent created a profound sense of violation and betrayal. The recording also revealed the extent to which I had been deceived about the nature of my relationships with the two people I had trusted most completely. The conversations demonstrated that neither David nor my mother had been authentic in their interactions with me for many months, creating questions about the validity of all previous communications and shared experiences. The strategic implications of the recording were immediately apparent. The evidence it contained would be crucial for legal proceedings, security clearance reviews, and military justice procedure. The specific details about financial deception, security violations, and conspiracy would support various resolution strategies and provide leverage for negotiations about custody, asset division, and career protection. The recording also provided evidence of Monica Stevens' pattern of relationships with military personnel, which could be significant for base security and counterintelligence investigation. The information about her activities and the security implications of her relationships with multiple officers would need to be reported to appropriate military authorities, regardless of how I chose to resolve my personal situation. The network's guidance on managing breakthrough evidence proved invaluable during this phase of the investigation. Colonel Martinez provided specific instructions on evidence preservation, documentation procedures, and strategic planning that would maximize the value of the recording while protecting its integrity for potential legal proceedings. The emotional support provided by the network was crucial during the immediate aftermath of the recording discovery. The realization that my mother had been actively participating in the destruction of my marriage created emotional trauma that required professional guidance to manage effectively. The network's resources included counseling services and support groups that specialized in helping military personnel navigate complex family betrayals. The recording also created opportunities for expanded investigation that could reveal additional evidence of deception and security violation. The names and details mentioned in the conversation provided leads for investigating other aspects of the conspiracy and identifying additional participants or victims. The network's investigation techniques enabled me to pursue these leads systematically while maintaining operational security. The preparation for confrontation was significantly enhanced by the evidence contained in the recording. The specific details and direct quotes provided powerful tools for challenging denials or attempts to minimize the scope of the deception. The casual nature of the conversation and the absence of any attempts to justify or rationalize their behavior created evidence that would be difficult to dispute or explain away. The recording also revealed strategic information about David and my mother's plans and expectations that would be valuable for developing counter strategies and preparing for their likely responses to confrontation. Their assumptions about custody arrangements, financial settlements, and career implications provided insight into their strategic thinking and potential vulnerability. The transformation from victim to strategist had been completed through the discovery of the recording and the comprehensive evidence it provided. The emotional devastation of the betrayal had been channeled into systematic planning and strategic thinking that would enable me to control the resolution process and protect my interests and Emma's future. The network's emphasis on transforming breakthrough evidence into strategic advantage had proven invaluable for managing the psychological impact of the discovery while maintaining focus on resolution objectives. The recording had provided the final piece of evidence necessary for comprehensive resolution strategies that would address both personal and professional implications of the betrayal. The breakthrough moment had revealed the full scope of the conspiracy and provided the tools necessary for effective resolution. The evidence contained in the recording would soon be put to use in confrontations and negotiations that would determine the future of my family and career. The systematic approach to investigation and strategic planning had prepared me for the challenges ahead, and provided confidence in my ability to achieve favorable outcomes despite the magnitude of the betrayal I had discovered. The opposition to my investigation and evidence gathering manifested with startling coordination and sophistication the moment David and my mother recognized that their conspiracy had been exposed. The transformation from secretive deception to aggressive damage control revealed the true extent of their planning and the resources they had prepared to deploy if their activities were discovered. The first indication of organized resistance occurred when I attempted to access our joint financial accounts to document the unauthorized expenditures that David had made to support his relationship with Monica Stevens. The accounts had been frozen pending review by the base legal office, action that could only have been initiated by someone with detailed knowledge of military financial procedures and access to appropriate personnel. David's response to my discovery of the recording had been immediate and strategic rather than emotional or defensive. Within hours of our confrontation, he had contacted Base Legal Services, the security office, and his commanding officer to report what he characterized as my unstable behavior and potential security violation. His preemptive strike was designed to establish an official record that would undermine my credibility and create the impression that I was the source of family instability rather than the victim of systematic deception. The sophistication of David's counter-strategy indicated that he had been preparing for the possibility of discovery throughout the duration of his relationship with Monica. His immediate ability to mobilize official resources and frame the situation to his advantage demonstrated planning that extended far beyond the casual affair that he had initially attempted to portray. The coordination and timing of his response suggested that he had received guidance from individuals with extensive experience in military damage control procedures. My mother's contribution to the opposition strategy was equally sophisticated and potentially more damaging due to her intimate knowledge of my personal history and psychological vulnerability. She had contacted extended family members, mutual friends, and Emma's teachers to express concern about my mental health and parenting capability. Her campaign was designed to isolate me from support networks while creating documentary evidence of instability that could be used in custody proceedings. The effectiveness of their coordinated response was evident in the immediate changes in how colleagues and friends interacted with me. Conversations that had previously been open and supportive became guarded and formal. Invitations to social events were withdrawn or not extended. The professional relationships that had been sources of mentorship and collaboration became distant and cautious. The speed and comprehensiveness of these changes indicated that David and my mother had been thorough in their outreach efforts. The most concerning aspect of the opposition strategy was its focus on undermining my security clearance and military career. David had filed complaints with multiple offices alleging that my investigation activities constituted unauthorized surveillance and potential violations of privacy regulation. He had also raised questions about my emotional stability and judgment, suggesting that I might be susceptible to blackmail or coercion due to my family situation. The allegations against me were carefully crafted to exploit the military's emphasis on personal integrity and emotional stability. The suggestion that I had engaged in unauthorized surveillance activities was particularly damaging because it implied violations of the ethical standards that were fundamental to maintaining security clearance. The questions about my emotional stability were designed to create doubt about my fitness for continued service in sensitive positions. Monica Stevens had also become an active participant in the opposition strategy, filing complaints with base officials alleging that I had been harassing her and interfering with her work performance. Her allegations were supported by documentation that suggested a pattern of obsessive behavior and potential stalking. The professionalism and comprehensiveness of her complaints indicated that she had received legal counsel and strategic guidance in preparing her case. The coordination between David, my mother, and Monica Stevens in their opposition efforts revealed a level of planning and resource allocation that exceeded what would be expected from individuals responding spontaneously to exposure of their deception. The timing of their actions, the consistency of their messaging, and the strategic focus of their allegations suggested that they had prepared extensively for the possibility of discovery and had developed comprehensive damage control strategy. The legal dimension of their opposition strategy included the retention of civilian counsel who specialized in military family law and security clearance issues.
Their attorney had immediately filed motions for emergency custody arrangements, asset protection, and restraining orders that were designed to limit my access to Emma and our financial resources while the situation was being resolved through official channels. The restraining orders were particularly concerning because they were based on allegations of threatening behavior that had been fabricated or grossly misrepresented. The documents filed by their attorney portrayed me as emotionally unstable and potentially dangerous, creating legal barriers that would be difficult to overcome even after the false nature of the allegations was established. The opposition strategy also included attempts to discredit the evidence I had gathered through the network's investigation techniques. They had retained a technical consultant who questioned the authenticity of the recording and suggested that it had been edited or fabricated. The challenge to the evidence was designed to create reasonable doubt about its validity while portraying me as capable of sophisticated deception and manipulation. The network's response to the opposition strategy was immediate and comprehensive, demonstrating the value of having access to experienced counsel and strategic guidance. Colonel Martinez had anticipated the likelihood of coordinated resistance and had prepared counter-strategies that addressed each element of David and my mother's campaign. The network's resources included legal counsel who specialized in defending military personnel against false allegations and malicious prosecution. The network's legal team had immediately filed counter motions challenging the restraining orders and custody arrangements, supported by comprehensive documentation of the evidence I had gathered and expert testimony about the authenticity of the record. The response was designed to expose the coordinated nature of the opposition strategy while establishing my credibility and the validity of my claims. The network's investigation resources were also deployed to gather additional evidence about Monica Stevens' background and activity. This investigation revealed that she had been involved in similar situations with other military personnel, establishing a pattern of behavior that supported my allegations and undermined her credibility. The evidence of her previous activities was crucial for countering her allegations against me and establishing her role in the conspiracy. The emotional support provided by the network was essential during this phase of the conflict, as the coordinated opposition created additional stress and uncertainty beyond the original betrayal. The attacks on my character and professional reputation were designed to create psychological pressure that would force me to accept unfavorable settlements or abandon my efforts to hold David and my mother accountable for their actions. The network's counseling resources helped me understand that the intensity of the opposition was actually confirmation of the strength of my evidence and the validity of my claim.
The sophisticated nature of their response indicated that they recognized the seriousness of their exposure and were willing to invest significant resources in damage control. Their willingness to engage in such extensive opposition efforts demonstrated their recognition that I had gathered evidence that could have serious consequences for their future. The strategic guidance provided by the network enabled me to maintain focus on my primary objectives while responding effectively to the opposition attacks. The network's emphasis on systematic documentation and evidence preservation ensured that all opposition activities were recorded and could be used to demonstrate the coordinated nature of their campaign. This documentation would be valuable for establishing malicious prosecution claims and recovering damages from the false allegations. The opposition strategy had also created opportunities for expanding the scope of my case and increasing the potential consequences for David and my mother. Their willingness to file false allegations and fabricate evidence constituted additional violations that could be addressed through military justice procedures and civilian legal remedies. The network's legal counsel identified multiple causes of action that could be pursued based on their opposition activities. The security implications of the opposition strategy were also significant, as David's willingness to make false allegations to protect his relationship with Monica Stevens demonstrated the compromised nature of his judgment and loyalty. The network's security specialists documented these implications and prepared reports that would be submitted to appropriate military authorities, regardless of how the personal aspects of the situation were resolved. The opposition's attempts to isolate me from support networks had been partially successful, but had also revealed the true nature of some relationships and the strength of others. The individuals who had distanced themselves based on David and my mother's allegations had demonstrated their superficial commitment to our relationships, while those who had maintained their support had proven their genuine loyalty and friendship. The network's community resources had been crucial for maintaining morale and motivation during this challenging phase. The connection with other military personnel who had faced similar opposition campaigns provided perspective and encouragement that helped me maintain confidence in my ability to achieve favorable outcomes. Their experiences demonstrated that coordinated opposition was often a sign of impending victory rather than defeat. The opposition strategy had also created opportunities for demonstrating leadership and character under pressure. My response to false allegations and malicious attacks had been measured and professional, creating evidence of stability and judgment that contradicted the portrayal of instability that David and my mother were attempting to establish. This demonstration of character under pressure had strengthened my position with military authorities and legal representatives. The evolution of the opposition strategy over time revealed the increasing desperation of David and my mother as their initial efforts failed to achieve their objective. Their willingness to escalate their allegations and expand their attacks indicated that they recognized the weakness of their position and were attempting to create enough confusion and controversy to force a settlement that would protect them from the consequences of their action. The network's strategic analysis of the opposition activities had identified several critical vulnerabilities that could be exploited to accelerate resolution of the situation. The coordination between David, my mother, and Monica Stevens had created evidence of conspiracy that could be used to establish their shared liability for damages and consequences. Their willingness to file false allegations had also created opportunities for countersuits and criminal charges that could significantly increase the costs of their opposition strategy. The preparation for the next phase of the conflict had been enhanced by the intelligence gathered about the opposition strategy and resources. The network's analysis of their tactics and capabilities had enabled the development of comprehensive counter-strategies that would address each element of their campaign while maintaining focus on the primary objectives of protecting Emma's interests and my military career. The opposition had emerged with formidable coordination and resources, but their strategy had also revealed their vulnerabilities and created opportunities for decisive action. The network's guidance and support had enabled me to weather the initial assault while gathering intelligence and preparing for the comprehensive resolution that would soon follow. The emergence of opposition had been challenging, but it had also confirmed the strength of my evidence and the necessity of pursuing complete resolution rather than partial compromise. The crucible test arrived when multiple investigations were launched simultaneously against me, creating a perfect storm of professional scrutiny that threatened to destroy my military career while my personal life remained in complete upheaval. The convergence of security clearance review, internal affairs investigation, and child custody proceedings created circumstances that would test every aspect of my character, training, and resilience. The security clearance review had been initiated based on David's allegations that my investigation activities constituted unauthorized surveillance and potential violations of operational security protocol. The review process required me to submit to intensive interviews with security investigators who examined every aspect of my personal and professional conduct over the previous 5 years. The investigators' questions were detailed and probing, designed to identify any vulnerabilities or inconsistencies that might indicate compromised loyalty or judgment. The internal affairs investigation focused on allegations that I had misused military resources and violated privacy regulations during my investigation of David's activity. The investigation required me to provide comprehensive documentation of all actions I had taken, including the methods used to gather evidence and the resources employed during the investigation process. The investigators examined my computer usage, communication records, and official activities to determine whether any violations had occurred. The child custody proceedings had been initiated by David's attorney, who sought emergency custody arrangements based on allegations that my behavior had become erratic and potentially dangerous to Emma's welfare. The family court judge had ordered psychological evaluations, home studies, and supervised visitation arrangements, pending resolution of the custody dispute. The proceedings required me to submit to extensive evaluation while maintaining my military duties and defending against the other investigation. The convergence of these three major challenges created resource demands that exceeded my normal capacity to manage stress and maintain performance standards. Each investigation required significant time, attention, and emotional energy, while generating additional stress and uncertainty about my future. The coordination of responses to multiple proceedings, while maintaining my military responsibilities, required exceptional organizational skills and psychological resilience. The most challenging aspect of the Crucible test was the requirement to maintain professional composure and effectiveness while under extraordinary pressure from multiple directions. My subordinates and colleagues were observing my behavior and performance for signs of instability or compromised judgment. Any indication of weakness or emotional distress could provide additional ammunition for the allegations against me and undermine my credibility in all proceedings. The network's support during this phase was crucial for maintaining perspective and developing strategic responses to each challenge. Colonel Martinez provided guidance on managing multiple investigations simultaneously, while protecting my interests and maintaining my professional reputation. The network's legal counsel coordinated responses to ensure consistency across all proceedings and prevent contradictory statements or positions that could be exploited by the opposition. The security clearance review required me to demonstrate not only that I had not violated any regulations, but also that my personal situation had not compromised my reliability or judgment. The investigators examined my financial records, personal relationships, and decision-making processes to assess whether the family crisis had created vulnerabilities that could be exploited by foreign intelligence services or other hostile actors. The preparation for security clearance interviews involved comprehensive review of all my activities and decisions over the previous 5 years. The network's security specialists helped me identify potential areas of concern and develop explanations that would satisfy investigators while protecting sensitive information about the network's activities and resources. The preparation process required me to maintain strict compartmentalization between my personal situation and my professional responsibility. The internal affairs investigation presented unique challenges because it required me to explain my investigation activities without revealing the network's existence or method. The investigators needed to understand that my actions had been reasonable and appropriate, given the circumstances, while not disclosing information that could compromise the security of other network members. The balance between transparency and operational security required careful consideration of each question and response. The preparation for internal affairs interviews involved developing explanations for my investigation activities that would satisfy investigators while protecting the network's security. The network's legal counsel helped me understand the limits of required disclosure and the boundaries of legitimate investigation activities. The preparation process included practice sessions and strategic planning to ensure consistency and accuracy in all responses. The child custody proceedings required me to demonstrate that I was a fit parent, despite the allegations of instability and erratic behavior. The psychological evaluations examined my emotional stability, judgment, and parenting capabilities under the extraordinary stress of the family crisis. The evaluations required me to discuss intimate details of my marriage and family relationships, while maintaining professional composure and demonstrating rational thinking. The home study process involved comprehensive examination of my living arrangements, financial resources, and support systems. The court-appointed evaluator examined every aspect of my daily routines, parenting practices, and plans for Emma's future. The evaluation required me to demonstrate that I could provide stable and appropriate care for Emma despite the ongoing legal and professional challenge. The supervised visitation arrangements were particularly challenging because they required me to maintain normal parenting interactions while under observation by court-appointed monitor. The artificial nature of these interactions created additional stress while requiring me to demonstrate patience, consistency, and appropriate boundaries. The monitor's reports would be crucial evidence in the custody proceedings, making every interaction significant for the final outcome. The financial impact of the Crucible test was substantial as legal fees, evaluation costs, and reduced income from disrupted work schedules created significant economic pressure. The network's resources included financial planning assistance and emergency funding that helped me maintain my defense without compromising my long-term financial security. The economic stress created additional pressure that required careful management to prevent it from affecting my performance in other areas. The emotional toll of the Crucible test was extraordinary, as the combination of professional threats, personal attacks, and family separation created stress levels that exceeded anything I had previously experienced. The network's counseling resources were essential for maintaining psychological stability and developing coping strategies that would enable me to continue functioning effectively under extreme pressure. The isolation created by the investigations was particularly challenging, as many colleagues and friends distanced themselves to avoid potential association with controversy. The network's community support became my primary source of emotional sustenance and practical assistance during this period. The connections with other military personnel who had survived similar challenges provided hope and perspective that enabled me to maintain focus on long-term objectives. The time management demands of the Crucible test required extraordinary organizational skills and prioritization ability. Each investigation required significant preparation time, interview attendance, and follow-up activities, while I continued to fulfill my military duties and maintain my responsibilities as a parent. The network's administrative support helped me coordinate schedules and manage the complex logistics of multiple proceedings. The strategic coordination of responses across all investigations was crucial for maintaining consistency and preventing contradictory statements that could be exploited by the opposition. The network's legal team developed comprehensive response strategies that addressed each proceeding, while supporting the overall objectives of protecting my career and maintaining custody of. The coordination required detailed planning and careful execution to ensure that each response supported the others. The documentation required for all investigations created massive administrative burdens that required systematic organization and meticulous attention to detail. The network's administrative specialist helped me develop filing systems and tracking mechanisms that ensured all requirements were met while maintaining the integrity of sensitive information. The documentation process required hundreds of hours of work while maintaining accuracy and completeness. The media attention generated by the investigations created additional challenges for reputation management and privacy protection. The network's public relations specialist provided guidance on managing media inquiries and controlling the narratives surrounding the investigations. The media attention required careful balance between transparency and privacy protection, while maintaining dignity and professional composure. The impact on Emma during this period was a source of constant concern and additional stress. The custody proceedings and supervised visitation arrangements had disrupted her normal routines and created uncertainty about her future. The network's family support services provided counseling and assistance that helped Emma cope with the family crisis while maintaining her emotional well-being and academic performance. The performance of my military duties during the Crucible test required extraordinary focus and compartmentalization abilities. My subordinates and superiors were observing my leadership and decision-making for signs of compromised judgment or effectiveness. The maintenance of professional standards while managing personal crisis required exceptional discipline and emotional control. The preparation for each investigation required comprehensive review of facts, evidence, and strategic objectives. The network specialist helped me understand the requirements and expectations for each proceeding, while developing responses that would protect my interest and achieve favorable outcomes. The preparation process required hundreds of hours of work while maintaining accuracy and consistency across all proceedings. The cross-examination techniques used by opposing counsel in various proceedings were designed to create confusion, inconsistency, and emotional distress that would undermine my credibility and support their allegations. The network's legal counsel prepared me for these challenges through practice sessions and strategic planning that enabled me to maintain composure and provide accurate responses under intense pressure. The expert testimony provided by the network specialist was crucial for countering the opposition's allegations and establishing the validity of my claim. The experts provided comprehensive analysis of the evidence, evaluation of the opposition's tactics, and professional opinions about the approach
appropriateness of my actions. Their testimony was essential for achieving favorable outcomes in all proceedings. The resolution of the crucible test would require sustained effort and strategic thinking over an extended period. The network's guidance and support provided the resources necessary for maintaining effectiveness while achieving favorable outcomes in all proceedings. The crucible test had been designed to overwhelm and defeat me, but the network's resources and my own resilience had enabled me to transform the challenge into an opportunity for demonstrating strength and character under extreme pressure. The lessons learned during the crucible test would prove valuable for future challenges and would strengthen my ability to handle complex situations requiring multiple simultaneous responses. The experience had revealed personal capabilities and resources that I had not previously recognized, while demonstrating the importance of preparation, support systems, and strategic thinking in achieving favorable outcomes under extraordinary circumstances. The moment of truth arrived when Brigadier General Patricia Hawthorne, the commanding officer of Fort Belvoir, summoned me to her office for what would prove to be the most consequential meeting of my military career. The general had completed her review of all investigation reports, examined the evidence I had submitted, and was prepared to render decisions that would determine not only my professional future but also the fate of everyone involved in the conspiracy that had nearly destroyed my life. The meeting was scheduled for 0800 hours on a Monday morning in late June, precisely 6 months after I had first discovered the mysterious phone in David's uniform pocket. The intervening months had transformed me from a trusting wife and a daughter into a strategic operative who had successfully navigated multiple investigations while gathering irrefutable evidence of betrayal, conspiracy, and security violations that would have far-reaching consequences for all participants. General Hawthorne's office reflected the gravitas and authority of her position, with military decorations, unit citations, and photographs from her distinguished 30-year career covering the wall. The general herself possessed the bearing and presence that commanded immediate respect, her silver hair and sharp eyes conveying both wisdom and determination. Her reputation for fairness and integrity had made her one of the most respected commanders in the Army, and her handling of this case would demonstrate why she had earned that reputation. The general began the meeting by acknowledging the extraordinary circumstances that had brought us together and the comprehensive nature of the investigations that had been conducted. She had reviewed all evidence, interviewed all parties, and consulted with legal counsel, security specialists, and family services professionals to ensure that her decisions would be based on complete information and sound judgment. The thoroughness of her preparation was evident in the detailed files and analysis that covered her desk. The security clearance review had been completed with a finding that my actions had been appropriate and justified given the circumstances I had discovered. The investigators had determined that my investigation activities had been reasonable responses to legitimate security concerns and that my handling of sensitive information had been consistent with proper protocol. The review had actually strengthened my security clearance status by demonstrating my commitment to protecting national security interests, even when doing so created personal hardship. The internal affairs investigation had similarly concluded that my actions had been within appropriate bounds and that the allegations against me had been without merit. The investigators had determined that my use of military resources had been minimal and appropriate, and that my investigation techniques had been consistent with standard practices for addressing security concerns. The investigation had found no evidence of misconduct or violation of military regulations in my actions. The child custody evaluation had reached conclusions that were overwhelmingly favorable to my interests and Emma's welfare. The psychological evaluations had determined that I was emotionally stable and capable of providing appropriate care despite the extraordinary stress of the family crisis. The home study had found that my living arrangements and support systems were suitable for Emma's needs and that my parenting capabilities were exemplary under the circumstance. General Hawthorne then addressed the evidence that had been gathered regarding David's activities and the security implications of his relationship with Monica Stevens. The investigation had confirmed that David had violated multiple military regulations, compromised security protocols, and engaged in conduct that was detrimental to military discipline and order. The evidence of his coordination with my mother and Monica Stevens had established a pattern of deception that undermined his fitness for continued military service. The investigation of Monica Stevens had revealed that she had been systematically targeting military personnel for relationships that created security vulnerabilities and potential compromise of sensitive information. Her activities had extended far beyond her relationship with David to include similar patterns with other officers at Fort Belvoir and previous assignments. The scope of her activities had created significant security concerns that required immediate action to protect military interests. The general's analysis of my mother's involvement in the conspiracy had been particularly thorough, as her actions had violated the trust placed in military family members and had actively undermined military security and discipline. The evidence of her coordination with David and Monica Stevens had established her as a willing participant in activities that threatened military operations and personnel security. Her actions had created consequences that extended far beyond family relationships to include potential criminal liability. The comprehensive nature of the evidence I had gathered through the network's resources had been crucial for establishing the full scope of the conspiracy and its implications for military security. The recording that had captured the details of their planning and coordination had provided irrefutable proof of their activities and intentions. The financial records, communication logs, and surveillance evidence had created a complete picture of their deception and its consequences. General Hawthorne acknowledged that the network's support and guidance had been instrumental in my successful navigation of the investigations and my ability to protect both my personal interests and military security. The network's resources had enabled me to gather evidence systematically, respond to false allegations effectively, and maintain my professional responsibilities while managing extraordinary personal stress. The general's recognition of the network's value validated the importance of such support systems for military personnel facing complex challenges. The decisions that General Hawthorne announced would address each aspect of the conspiracy and its participants with consequences that were proportional to their actions and their impact on military security and discipline. The comprehensive nature of her decisions reflected the seriousness of the violations and the need for deterrent effects that would prevent similar activities in the future. David's military career would be terminated through administrative separation procedures that would result in his immediate discharge from the Army. His security clearance would be permanently revoked, and his actions would be documented in ways that would prevent his employment in positions requiring security clearances or access to sensitive information. The separation proceedings would also address his violations of military justice regulations through appropriate disciplinary measures. Monica Stevens would be immediately terminated from her position as a civilian contractor and would be permanently barred from employment on military installations. Her activities would be reported to appropriate counterintelligence agencies for investigation of potential security violations and foreign intelligence connection. The scope of her activities and their potential impact on military security would be addressed through comprehensive security reviews and protective measures. The general's handling of my mother's involvement recognized the unique position of military family members and the trust that had been violated through her action. While civilian family members were not subject to military justice procedures, her activities would be documented and reported to appropriate civilian authorities for potential prosecution. Her access to military installations and activities would be permanently restricted to prevent future security violations. The custody arrangements for Emma would be modified to grant me primary custody, with supervised visitation rights for David pending the completion of his separation proceeding. The court's recognition of the security implications of David's activities had influenced the custody decision, as his compromised status created potential risks for Emma's welfare and security. The custody arrangements would be subject to ongoing review based on David's post-separation conduct fact and circumstance. The financial implications of the conspiracy would be addressed through comprehensive asset recovery procedures that would compensate me for the unauthorized use of joint resources and the costs associated with the investigations and legal proceedings. The recovery procedures would include both military administrative actions and civilian legal remedies that would ensure appropriate compensation for damages and loss. General Hawthorne's decision to commend my handling of the situation represented recognition of the extraordinary circumstances I had faced and the professional manner in which I had protected both personal and military interests. The commendation would be placed in my permanent record as evidence of my integrity, judgment, and commitment to military values under extreme stress. The recognition would support my continued career advancement and professional development. The General's analysis of the case's broader implications for military security and family support services had led to recommendations for policy changes and enhanced support systems that would help prevent similar situations in the future. The case had revealed vulnerabilities in security screening procedures and support systems that required systematic attention and improvement. The recommendations would be forwarded to appropriate Army headquarters for implementation across multiple installations. The meeting concluded with General Hawthorne's acknowledgement of the personal strength and professional competence I had demonstrated throughout the ordeal. Her recognition of the transformation I had undergone from victim to strategic leader reflected the growth and development that had occurred during the challenging months of investigation and resolution. The General's confidence in my continued service and advancement provided validation of my professional capabilities and personal character. The immediate implementation of General Hawthorne's decisions would begin with David's separation proceedings and Monica Stevens' termination, followed by the custody modifications and financial recovery action. The comprehensive nature of the resolution would address all aspects of the conspiracy while providing appropriate consequences for all participants. The coordination of these actions would demonstrate the military's commitment to protecting its personnel and maintaining security standards. The long-term implications of the resolution would extend beyond the immediate participants to include enhanced security procedures, improved support services, and strengthened policies for addressing similar challenges in the future. The case had become a precedent for handling complex situations involving family betrayal, security violations, and coordinated deception. The lessons learned would benefit the entire military community through improved preparation and response capability. The personal transformation I had experienced during this ordeal had revealed capabilities and strength that would serve me throughout my continued military career. The strategic thinking, investigative skills, and leadership abilities that had been developed through this crisis would enhance my effectiveness in future assignments and challenges.
The network's support and guidance had been instrumental in this development, but the ultimate success had required personal growth and resilience that would continue to serve me well. The moment of truth had arrived with General Hawthorne's comprehensive review and decisive action, but it had also marked the beginning of a new chapter in my life and career. The resolution of the conspiracy and its consequences had restored my professional standing while providing justice for the betrayals I had endured. The strength and capabilities I had developed during this ordeal would enable me to pursue even greater achievements and contributions to military service. The network's role in achieving this successful resolution had demonstrated the value of systematic support and strategic guidance for military personnel facing complex challenges. The resources and expertise that had been provided through the network had been crucial for navigating the investigations and achieving favorable outcomes. The success of this case would strengthen the network's capabilities and expand its resources for helping other military personnel facing similar challenges. The moment of truth had tested every aspect of my character, training, and values, but it had also revealed the power of preparation, persistence, and strategic thinking in overcoming even the most challenging obstacle. The resolution achieved through General Hawthorne's decisions had provided justice, protection, and opportunity for continued growth and service. The transformation from victim to victor had been complete, and the foundation had been established for even greater achievements in the future. The vindication arrived through multiple channels simultaneously, as the military justice system processed the consequences of the conspiracy while civilian authorities initiated their own investigations based on the evidence I had provided. The comprehensive nature of the resolution demonstrated that truth and justice could prevail even against sophisticated deception and coordinated opposition when approached with systematic preparation and unwavering determination. The military administrative actions proceeded with unprecedented speed and thoroughness, reflecting the serious nature of the security violations and the clear evidence of misconduct that had been established through the investigation. David's separation proceedings were expedited through administrative channels that recognized the immediate threat to security and discipline posed by his continued service. The documentation of his violations created a permanent record that would prevent his future employment in positions requiring security clearances or access to sensitive information. The security clearance revocation process for David included comprehensive debriefing sessions that examined all aspects of his access to classified information during the period of his relationship with Monica Stevens. The counterintelligence specialists conducting the debriefings were particularly concerned about the potential for information compromise given Monica's pattern of relationships with military personnel. The scope of the security review extended beyond David's individual case to encompass broader assessments of vulnerabilities and protective measures. Monica Stevens' termination from her civilian contractor position triggered additional investigations by the Defense Security Service and other counterintelligence agencies. The pattern of her relationships with military personnel across multiple assignments suggested potential foreign intelligence connections that required comprehensive investigation. Her activities had created security vulnerabilities that extended far beyond personal relationships to include potential compromise of sensitive military operations and personnel information. The civilian authorities' investigation of my mother's involvement in the conspiracy proceeded through both criminal and civil channels. The evidence of her coordination with David and Monica Stevens in activities that potentially compromised military security created grounds for federal prosecution under various statutes relating to conspiracy and obstruction of justice. The civilian prosecutors recognized the unique circumstances of military family member involvement in security violations and approached the case with appropriate seriousness. The custody proceedings concluded with comprehensive arrangements that granted me primary custody of Emma while establishing supervised visitation rights for David pending the completion of his separation from the military. The family court's recognition of the security implications of David's activities had influenced the custody decisions significantly. The court appointed a special guardian to monitor David's interactions with Emma and ensure that his compromised status did not create risks for her welfare or security. The financial recovery proceedings addressed both the unauthorized use of joint resources and the substantial costs associated with the investigations and legal proceedings. The comprehensive nature of the financial remedies included restitution for unauthorized expenditures, compensation for legal fees and investigation costs, and punitive damages for the deception and betrayal that had necessitated the extensive legal action. The recovery procedures established precedents for addressing financial aspects of security-related family betrayal. The network's role in achieving these successful outcomes received formal recognition through military channels that acknowledged the value of systematic support and strategic guidance for personnel facing complex challenges. Colonel Martinez and other network leaders were consulted about policy recommendations and support system improvements that could help prevent similar situations in the future. The network's methodologies and resources were studied for potential integration into formal military family support programs. The professional commendation placed in my permanent record by General Hawthorne represented formal recognition of the extraordinary circumstances I had navigated and the professional manner in which I had protected both personal and military interests. The commendation specifically noted my systematic approach to investigation, my maintenance of operational security during the crisis, and my continued exemplary performance of military duties despite extraordinary personal stress. The recognition enhanced my professional standing and created opportunities for accelerated advancement. The security policy recommendations that emerged from the case were forwarded to Army headquarters for implementation across multiple installations. The recommendations addressed vulnerabilities in contractor screening procedures, enhanced monitoring of civilian-military relationships, and improved support systems for military personnel facing family-related security challenges. The policy changes would benefit the entire military community through enhanced security and support capability. The case study documentation prepared by the network and military legal specialists created educational resources that would be used for training military personnel and family members about security awareness and support resources. The comprehensive nature of the case and its resolution provided valuable lessons about recognizing deception, gathering evidence systematically, and accessing appropriate support during crisis situations. The educational materials would help prevent similar situations while improving response capability. The psychological evaluation reports from the custody proceedings provided additional vindication of my emotional stability and parenting capabilities despite the extraordinary stress of the family crisis. The evaluators specifically noted my ability to maintain rational decision-making and appropriate priorities throughout the ordeal. The evaluations became part of the permanent record that demonstrated my resilience and competence under extreme circumstances. The counterintelligence investigation of Monica Stevens revealed connections and activities that extended far beyond her relationship with David. The investigation uncovered evidence of systematic targeting of military personnel for relationships that created security vulnerabilities and potential information compromise. The scope of her activities required expanded security reviews and protective measures that would benefit military installations nationwide. The civil litigation proceedings against David and my mother for damages related to their conspiracy and deception were proceeding through federal courts with strong prospects for significant monetary recovery. The evidence of their coordinated activities and the resulting damages created compelling cases for both compensatory and punitive damages. The litigation would provide additional financial resources for Emma's education and my continued professional development. The academic and professional recognition of the case's significance led to invitations for me to speak at military conferences and educational institutions about crisis management, investigation techniques, and family security awareness. The speaking opportunities provided platforms for sharing lessons learned while contributing to broader military education and awareness programs. The recognition enhanced my professional reputation and created opportunities for expanded influence and contribution. The network's expansion and enhancement of resources, based on lessons learned from the case, would benefit military personnel facing similar challenges in the future. The success of the comprehensive approach to investigation and resolution had validated the network's methodologies while identifying areas for improvement and expansion. The network's capabilities were strengthened through the experience and would provide even more effective support for future cases. The media attention surrounding the case had been managed effectively through strategic communications that protected sensitive information while educating the public about military family security challenges. The media coverage had highlighted the importance of support systems and systematic approaches to addressing complex family crises. The long-term career implications of the successful resolution were extremely positive, as the demonstrated capabilities and professional recognition created opportunities for advancement and expanded responsibility. The strategic thinking and crisis management skills developed during the ordeal would enhance my effectiveness in future assignments and leadership positions. The network connections and professional recognition would provide ongoing support for continued career development. The personal transformation that had occurred during the crisis had revealed capabilities and strengths that would serve me throughout my life and career. The systematic approach to problem solving, the ability to maintain composure under extreme stress, and the strategic thinking skills developed through the ordeal would enhance my effectiveness in all future challenges. The confidence gained through successful resolution of such complex circumstances would support even greater achievements. The relationship with Emma had been strengthened through the crisis, as our shared experience had created deeper understanding and stronger bonds. The protection of her interests and welfare had been a primary motivation throughout the ordeal, and the successful resolution had secured her future while demonstrating the importance of standing up for family when facing betrayal. The lessons learned about resilience and justice would benefit her throughout her life. The support system that had been developed through the network and other professional relationships had created lasting connections that would provide ongoing support and collaboration opportunities. The relationships formed during the crisis had been tested under extreme circumstances and had proven their reliability and value. The network of professional and personal relationships would continue to provide support and opportunities for mutual assistance. The broader implications of the case for military family security and support services had been recognized by senior military leadership and were being addressed through policy changes and resource enhancement. The case had demonstrated vulnerabilities in existing systems while providing solutions and improvements that would benefit the entire military community. The systemic improvements would help prevent similar situations while enhancing support for military families facing complex challenges. The documentation and analysis of the case had created valuable resources for military legal specialists, counterintelligence professionals, and family support services. The comprehensive nature of the evidence gathering and resolution had provided models for addressing similar situations in the future. The educational value of the case would benefit military personnel and support professionals for years to come. The vindication had been comprehensive and complete, addressing every aspect of the conspiracy while providing appropriate consequences for all participants. The systematic approach to investigation and resolution had achieved justice while protecting military security and family interests. The transformation from victim to victor had been accomplished through preparation, persistence, and strategic thinking that had overcome even the most sophisticated opposition. The foundation had been established for continued success and achievement based on the capabilities and recognition gained through the crisis. The professional standing and personal strength developed during the ordeal would support even greater contributions to military service and family security. The vindication had not only resolved the immediate crisis but had also created opportunities for expanded influence and impact in addressing similar challenges throughout the military community. The transformation from crisis survivor to institutional leader began with my appointment as the Army's first Director of Family Security and Crisis Response, a newly created position that emerged directly from the policy recommendations generated by my case. The appointment represented recognition that my experience had revealed critical vulnerabilities in military family support systems while demonstrating the effectiveness of systematic approaches to addressing complex security-related family crises. The new position required me to develop comprehensive programs for identifying, preventing, and responding to situations where family relationships created security vulnerabilities or personal crises for military personnel. The scope of responsibility included policy development, training program creation, resource allocation, and coordination with multiple military and civilian agencies. The role represented a significant expansion of my professional responsibilities while utilizing the expertise gained through my personal experience. The program development process began with comprehensive analysis of existing military family support services and identification of gaps that had contributed to situations similar to mine. The analysis revealed that military personnel facing family-related security challenges often lacked access to specialized resources and guidance necessary for protecting both personal interests and operational security. The existing support systems were designed for conventional family problems and were inadequate for addressing complex situations involving deception, security violations, and coordinated betrayal. The creation of specialized response teams represented one of the most significant innovations in the new program structure. These teams combined expertise in counterintelligence, legal services, family counseling, and crisis management to provide comprehensive support for military personnel facing complex family challenges. The teams were designed to operate with the same systematic approach and resource coordination that had been crucial to my successful resolution of the conspiracy. The training programs developed for military personnel and family members emphasized recognition of warning signs, systematic evidence gathering, and appropriate resource utilization when facing potential security-related family problems. The training incorporated lessons learned from my case and other similar situations to provide practical guidance for identifying and addressing threats before they compromised security or created personal crises. The educational approach balanced security awareness with family relationship preservation, The policy framework established clear protocols for reporting and investigating family-related security concerns while protecting the rights and interests of all parties involved. The policies addressed the balance between operational security requirements and family privacy rights, establishing procedures that would prevent both security compromise and false accusation. The framework incorporated due process protections while enabling rapid response to legitimate security threats. The coordination with civilian law enforcement and social services agencies created comprehensive support networks that addressed both military and civilian aspects of family-related security challenges. The coordination protocols ensured that military personnel could access appropriate civilian resources while maintaining security clearances and military career progression. The integrated approach recognized that family problems often crossed military and civilian jurisdictions and required coordinated response. The establishment of the enhanced network infrastructure formalized many of the support services that had been provided informally through Colonel Martinez's organization. The formal network included secure communication systems, legal resource pools, financial assistance programs, and crisis intervention capabilities that were integrated into official military family support services. The formalization provided stability and expanded resources while maintaining the operational security and effectiveness that had characterized the informal network. The research and analysis component of the new program focused on identifying trends and patterns in family-related security incidents while developing predictive capabilities that could prevent future crises. The research utilized data from resolved cases to identify risk factors and early warning indicators that could trigger preventive intervention. The analytical approach combined traditional social science research methods with counterintelligence analysis techniques to provide comprehensive understanding of family security challenges. The international coordination aspects of the program addressed the global nature of military families and the security challenges created by overseas assignments and international relations. The program established protocols for addressing family security issues across different legal and cultural contexts while maintaining consistent security standards and support services. The international dimension recognized that family-related security challenges were not limited to domestic military installations. The technology integration initiatives utilized advanced communication and analysis tools to enhance the effectiveness of crisis response and prevention programs. The technology components included secure communication platforms, evidence management systems, and analytical tools that enabled rapid response and comprehensive case management. The technological approach balanced security requirements with user accessibility and effectiveness. The case management protocols established systematic approaches for addressing individual family security crises while maintaining comprehensive documentation and lessons learned analysis. The protocols ensured that each case received appropriate resources and attention while contributing to broader understanding of family security challenges and effective response strategies. The systematic approach prevented cases from falling through administrative gaps while maximizing learning opportunities. The performance measurement systems developed comprehensive metrics for evaluating program effectiveness and identifying areas for improvement. The measurement approach included quantitative indicators such as case resolution rates and resource utilization, as well as qualitative assessments of participant satisfaction and long-term outcomes. The evaluation systems provided feedback for continuous program improvement and demonstration of value to military leadership. The professional development opportunities created through the new program included advanced training in crisis management, counterintelligence, family dynamics, and legal procedures for military personnel assigned to family security responsibility. The professional development program recognized that effective family security support required specialized expertise that extended beyond traditional military occupational specialties. The training programs prepared military personnel for the complex challenges of family security work. The advocacy and outreach components of the program addressed broader military community awareness of family security challenges while promoting utilization of available resources and support services. The advocacy efforts included
conference presentations, publication of educational materials, and coordination with military family organizations to increase awareness and accessibility of services. The outreach approach balanced security considerations with the need for broad community awareness. The collaboration with academic institutions created research partnerships that enhanced understanding of family security challenges while developing evidence-based interventions and support strategies. The academic partnerships provided access to advanced research capabilities and theoretical frameworks while contributing to broader scientific understanding of family dynamics in high-security environments. The research collaboration enhanced program credibility and effectiveness. The mentorship and succession planning elements of the program ensured that expertise and institutional knowledge would be preserved and transmitted to future generations of family security professionals. The mentorship programs paired experienced personnel with newcomers to provide guidance and support while maintaining continuity of capabilities and approaches. The succession planning recognized that family security expertise required both formal training and experiential learning. The innovation and adaptation mechanisms built into the program structure enabled continuous improvement and response to emerging challenges and changing threat environments. The innovation processes included regular review of procedures and technologies, incorporation of lessons learned from new cases, and adaptation to changing military family demographics and security requirements. The adaptive approach ensured that the program would remain effective despite evolving challenges and conditions. The resource allocation strategies developed sustainable funding and support mechanisms for family security programs while demonstrating return on investment through prevented security incidents and enhanced military family stability. The resource strategies balanced comprehensive service provision with fiscal responsibility, utilizing both military and civilian funding sources to support program operations. The sustainable funding approach ensured long-term program viability and effectiveness. The quality assurance and oversight systems established accountability mechanisms that ensured program services met established standards while protecting the rights and interests of military families. The oversight systems included regular audits, participant feedback mechanisms, and external review processes that maintained program integrity and effectiveness. The quality assurance approach balanced accountability requirements with operational flexibility and responsiveness. The crisis prevention initiatives focused on early identification and intervention in family situations that could develop into security-related problems. The prevention programs included relationship counseling, financial planning assistance, and communication skills training that addressed common sources of family stress and conflict. The prevention approach recognized that addressing problems early was more effective and less costly than responding to fully developed crises. The specialized populations support addressed the unique challenges faced by different segments of the military community, including dual military couples, senior officers, special operations personnel, and military families with unique security requirements. The specialized programs recognized that different military populations faced distinct challenges that required tailored approaches and resources. The population-specific approach enhanced program effectiveness and accessibility. The community integration efforts established connections between military family security programs and broader community resources and support systems. The integration approach recognized that military families were part of larger communities and could benefit from civilian resources while contributing to community security and stability. The community connections enhanced resource availability while building understanding and support for military families. The personal satisfaction derived from transforming a devastating personal crisis into institutional improvement and enhanced support for others facing similar challenges provided profound meaning and purpose to my continued military service. The transformation from victim to institutional leader had demonstrated that even the most challenging personal experiences could be converted into opportunities for positive change and contribution to others. The leadership role utilized both the expertise gained through personal experience and the professional capabilities developed throughout my military career. The expansion of influence and impact through the new position created opportunities for addressing family security challenges throughout the military community, while establishing precedents and programs that would benefit thousands of military families. The institutional leadership role enabled systematic change that extended far beyond individual case resolution to encompass prevention, education, and comprehensive support services. The transformation had converted personal adversity into institutional advancement and community benefit. The recognition that the most devastating betrayals could become catalysts for the most empowering achievements had provided perspective and strength that would guide future challenges and opportunities. The transformation process had revealed that resilience, systematic thinking, and strategic action could overcome even the most sophisticated opposition, while creating positive change that benefited others facing similar challenges. The personal and professional growth achieved through crisis had established foundations for continued achievement and contribution. The establishment of the Morrison Foundation for Military Family Security represented the evolution of my transformation from personal crisis survivor to national advocate for systemic change in how military institutions address family-related security challenges. The foundation emerged from recognition that government programs, while essential, required supplementation through private sector resources and innovative approaches that could address gaps in existing support systems while advancing research and development in family security methodology. The foundation's mission encompassed research, education, direct service provision, and policy advocacy, designed to enhance the security and stability of military families while protecting national security and the comprehensive approach recognized that effective family security required integration of multiple disciplines, including psychology, counterintelligence, legal services, financial planning, and crisis management. The foundation's structure enabled coordination of resources and expertise that exceeded what could be achieved through individual organizations or government programs alone. The comprehensibility of the foundation addressed fundamental questions about the intersection of family dynamics and security requirements in military environments. The comprehensive approach examined risk factors for family-related security incidents, effectiveness of intervention strategies, and development of predictive models that could enable preventive action before crises fully develop. The academic partnerships through foundation funding created centers of excellence at major universities that specialized in military family security research. The educational programs developed through foundation resources included comprehensive curricula for military personnel, family members, and support professionals that addressed recognition, prevention, and response to family-related security challenges. The educational approach utilized multiple delivery methods, including online platforms, residential training programs, and embedded education within existing military professional development courses.
The educational initiatives reached thousands of military personnel and family members annually, while establishing new professional standards for family security competency. The direct service programs operated by the Foundation provided specialized support for military families facing complex security-related challenges that exceeded the capacity of existing government programs. The Foundation's service delivery model utilized multidisciplinary teams that included legal specialists, financial advisors, mental health professionals, and security experts who could address the comprehensive needs of families experiencing crisis situations. The service programs maintained operational security requirements while providing compassionate and effective assistance. The policy advocacy efforts conducted through the Foundation focused on legislative and regulatory changes that would enhance protection for military families, while improving institutional responses to family-related security challenges. The advocacy programs utilized the expertise gained through direct service provision and research activities to develop evidence-based recommendations for policy improvement. The Foundation's credibility and nonpartisan approach enabled effective engagement with lawmakers and military leadership across political and organizational boundaries. The technology development initiatives supported by the Foundation advanced the creation of innovative tools and platforms that enhanced the effectiveness of family security programs, while maintaining appropriate security and privacy protections. The technology projects included secure communication systems, case management platforms, risk assessment tools, and educational delivery systems that improved both the efficiency and effectiveness of family security services. The technological innovations were made available to government and nonprofit organizations working in family security areas. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.